Can't tell I'm nervous, can you?
She didn't say nervous, did she? Good. All right, my voice is not to be heard in the movie. The movie's not going to be about me. So
And I'm going to look at you now.
You're going to look at
okay.
me. And when I ask a question, incorporate my question into your answer. This goes for everybody. So if I say, how's the weather? Instead of saying, you shouldn't be wearing shorts, say, well, the weather's pretty cold, you should be wearing shorts. Just incorporate it in.
Okay.
What's the status today? Your son is with somebody that is not a relative or anything?
As of today, we have no idea where our son is. He was put into the state of Utah's DCFS. He's with a foster family. As far as we know, we have not been allowed to speak with him in months. And we finally relinquished him when they were going to put me in jail because I wouldn't stop pursuing, trying to make, them prove all their accusations and to give us our son back.
Would you look at the screen and make sure when you're looking at me, can you tell, are you still right in the center and everything?
I'm kind of to the side, I guess. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
Well, what accusations were made?
Well, there were numerous accusations made over the course of the 6 months, starting with that we had physically abused him, which was proven to be false. It was a story that he had made up to try and run away to see his biological family. So when there was no collaboration to prove that, then Catherine Holt told Judge Higbee that he had reactive attachment disorder and that we were unable to care for him because of our lack of knowledge of this reactive attachment disorder. And Catherine Holt even stated in the shelter hearing that even doing this without hitting him could harm his psyche enough to cause emotional damage.
Now, who said this, a doctor?
Catherine Holt, who
is she a doctor?
No, she's an assistant attorney general for the state of Utah. Catherine Holt has an office in the local Department of Family Services office. She is basically their paid henchman and their paid attorney, and she's right there in their office.
Has anybody filed action against her for practicing medicine without a license?
As far as I am aware, no one has filed any action against Catherine Holt for practicing medicine without a license. However, I hope to in the future.
So this was her, she didn't have medical reports or anything else, it was just her hearsay claim.
Catherine, I believe that DCFS took our son from school. He had a doctor's appointment and DCFS showed up at the school and refused to release him to me. My other son needed to go, so I took him, and DCFS claimed that that was a de facto giving of custody to them. Then DCFS lied and said that they had called my husband, and my husband had given them permission, which was also false. And I believe DCFS told Catherine Holt that he had reactive attachment disorder and that they collaborated together to come up with something to make us look bad. And one thing I've forgotten to mention is that when we had our shelter hearing, I was 2 days out of surgery and 3 hours after being released from the hospital when we were brought in. So more than likely I looked pretty bad. I was in sweats because I'd had surgery. And when Catherine Holt said that these things, I didn't know how to respond. We never thought that this was serious. We knew that he was telling an untruth.
Adopted son?
Yes.
All right, so you have paperwork. He is your son.
He is our son.
You still have your parental rights?
As of today, we have relinquished our parental rights because at one point Catherine Holt threatened to take our other 3 children if we didn't sign her paperwork, and that if we continue to pursue this. So we relinquished our rights because they've threatened to put me in jail and take our other children, and we have moved our other children out of Utah to get them away from this whole situation.
How old a person is Catherine Holt?
I would think she's in her 50s, maybe up to 60.
Does she have a reputation for doing this with other people?
Catherine Holt has a horrible reputation. As you go through the people in this room, I imagine every one of them will have a horror story to tell you about Catherine Holt.
Well, I'd be delighted to contact Catherine Holt and invite her to be in the movie.
I would imagine Catherine Holt would refuse to be in any movie. This is my opinion, and I imagine it's other people's opinion. This is opinion only, that Catherine Holt is a fixture and nobody tells her what to do here. She's the boss. The sheriff's department calls her, the judge defers to her, and what Catherine Holt says is what is done.
Similar situation all around the country. There's somebody named Catherine Holt in just about every town. Is the what's called DCFS here, Department of Children and Family Services?
Yes, our Child Protective Services here, or DHS, is called Department of Family and Child Services, or DCFS. They're the same as CPS, or Child Protective Services. They're the same as Department of Health and Human Services, etc., across the United States.
Have you ever physically abused any of your children?
No, sir, I've never ever physically abused any of my children. I have 7 children total, and the other 6 will testify to that. And as a matter of fact, 3 of the 6 children did testify to Judge Higbee that Joshua was not telling the truth. The twins, who were 7 at the time, were prepared to speak with Judge Higbee to also say this. And in Judge Higbee's ruling, he stated that it was obvious that the children were on our team and could not be trusted.
What's Judge Higbee's first name?
Thomas. Judge Thomas Higbee is his name. And I do have that in writing, that he states that they were obviously on our team and that he could not take their testimony seriously.
What are the ages of the children?
Our children range in age now. The twins just turned 8. Our son is just turned 13. We have a 20-year-old daughter, a 22-year-old daughter, and a 26-year-old daughter.
So he refused to accept testimony from children that aren't teenagers anymore.
No, he took, Judge Higbee allowed our 22-year-old child to testify, our 20-year-old child to testify, and our 13-year-old child to testify. However, he would not even meet in private with the twin girls. And it was my feeling that the twins would be the most honest of all the children because they aren't old enough to have been taught how to lie. But he refused and said that would have been emotionally abusive to have spoke with them.
And again, their age is what?
They were 7 at the time. They just turned 8 in October.
You know, the testimony of a 7-year-old can put somebody in prison for life or even get them executed in states that allow that?
I believe that the testimony of a 7-year-old is one of the purest testimonies there is because they have no reason to lie.
Have you ever mentally abused any of your children?
I do not believe I've ever mentally abused any of the children. Judge Higbee's only thing that he could come up with was emotional abuse. And in his words, we quote, "We're attempting to put Joshua's square peg in our round hole, and we're not open to other ways of parenting."
And what's his source of information, Catherine Holt?
Catherine Holt, and we had taken Josh to the Southwest Behavioral Clinic. He is on Medicare. That is the only facility that will take Medicare or that is authorized to take Medicare here. And what I was told is they are actually a sister agency to DCFS, and that they report everything to DCFS. When we thought we were doing the right thing by taking our son to a counselor for mental health, what was happening is they were attempting to gain something to use to take him.
Why do you think they did it?
The main thing I believe, the main reason I believe they did this was because Deputy Dale Schlosser from the Iron County Police, or Sheriff's Department, made a mistake by releasing him to a complete stranger. The second thing I believe, and this will be controversial, is that all 4 of these children are African American, and this is an extremely white community, and I believe that they didn't like that. And I believe that the third reason is that I stood up to them and they wanted to take me down a peg.
Who was your son released to? Who is this stranger?
This man's that our son was released to is named Howard Krotz. He lives approximately 4 to 5 blocks away from us, and our son is very good friends with his daughter, Ashley Krotz. Howard, I have the interview in Deputy Schlosser's vehicle where Howard specifically stated that he did not know us. And when Deputy Schlosser asked him what he would do with Joshua if he released him, he said he would just take him to his house. Well, what he did was he took him to his daughter's house in the next town up, which was Parowan, and hid him for 2 days. The police supposedly did not know where he was. We had no idea where he was. And we found him by monitoring his Facebook account and getting ideas of where he was. We found him. The police didn't. And this man testified to Judge Higbee that he did not know us. And then he testified that he did not take him anywhere that Joshua ran away. Joshua testified that he went to Stephanie Krotz's house in Parowan. Judge Higbee never called anybody on that lie. He said it was just a misstatement, that it must have been a mistake. It wasn't a lie.
Were you represented by an attorney?
No, we were not represented by an attorney. I'm sure most people are aware attorneys cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 an hour. I personally put in 200 hours worth of work on this case. We didn't make the kind of money that we could do that, and with the economy the way it is, we just don't have that kind of money.
Were there meetings in chambers between the judge and the attorney on the other side and the social workers that you were not a part of?
I personally saw the judge, Catherine Holt, and the guardian ad litem all up at the bench after we were released from court one day talking. And when I looked up there, Judge Higbee looked and said, "Oh, we're talking about a different case. We're not talking about yours."
What else you want to talk about?
You know, I would like to let Joshua know that we fought very hard. We told the truth. We never lied. We showed that we loved him. We showed how much we loved him, and that the only reason we relinquished him was to save the other children. That we would have never relinquished him if it hadn't, we had to make a choice. And that's the only reason, and that got our other children out of here to safety.
What kind of impact has this had on your family?
This has had an extreme impact on our family. The other children are scared to death of policemen. They were so, I had to tell them I loved them 10 to 15 times a day. I had to promise them that I would kill somebody if they tried to take them. I promised them that I would kill people to keep them from being taken. And I'm not a violent person, but they were so scared. And I was so scared that I was having anxiety attacks and actually had to go on medication because I couldn't sleep. And I wished I couldn't eat, but all I did was eat. And our family, they tore Joshua away from his full biological brother and sisters. They have now allowed Joshua to have full contact with other biological family that he was taken away from. And this family is now contacting our other children and trying to get in contact with them when we have court orders from the state of California that that's not to happen. This state has allowed dangerous people to know where my children are. They've allowed them to know their adopted names. They've put their lives in danger and they don't care. They won. That's all they care about. They don't care about Joshua. He's 14. When he turns 18, I would love you to come back and find out where he is, because he'll be on the street. They don't care about him. The only ones that have ever cared about him is us, and they told him that we don't. And they've made us think that we don't love him.
So you adopted 4 from the same family?
Yeah. Yes,
all Native Americans?
No,
Black Americans?
Yeah, our children are all full biological siblings from the same. They're from the same family. They're African American. We took 4 children in to keep them together, and the state of Utah ripped that family apart against the wishes of the state of California. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you how you would define the term Lawless America, not me, not the movie, not the website.
I would define Lawless America as elected officials and government officials that have no boss, that have no one that is watching what they're doing, and that these people have a God complex. They feel they can do anything to anybody and get away with it.
You know, in Washington, there's a judge who says he's God. You know about that?
No, but I believe that all judges and attorneys believe they're gods.